How you doing? Great. So you know about my years. Myself, just make sure but then you know we told me, could do that. How was I got the house leads? And I was like, oh, then there you go. Already get out. We all do it. And I was a young guy. When I was like, when you get out, I wasn't just doing I went to you want to see your day when you're living and shit. He was like, for all your Okay, you can start finding seats. We'll get started. You know what? We're gonna get started in about a minute or two. Everything's good. Sorry, Michael. No, I mean, you get a chance. There's a football being passed around. Sign it for selfie. Back there with Greg Hall. Where's Chelsea? Where's Chelsea? Oh, should I? Okay, we're gonna get started. You know, down. This is the 8th time that we're going to be doing this. Carl Borst, myself, and Harry Busfirk and Josh Police and Chelsea have put a lot of work into this. So this is the 8th time we're doing this, and I think we're going to have more people this time than we ever had. The first thing I'd like to tell you is I'm going to introduce my guy I've been working with, Carl, and he'll talk about the people that we've had that are coming. I'm sorry, before that, Greg Hall, can you come up, please? Greg Hall will do the opening prayer. Oh. We could bow our heads, please.
Lord God, creator of the universe, thank you for this day and the safety that we've enjoyed thus far. Thank you for the opportunity to come together in fellowship and to renew old friendships. Please give us the strength, the courage of a servant's heart. Help us to strive to be of service to anyone in need or distress. Help us to act justly, love mercy, and walk humbly with you. Bless this food to our use and us in thy service. Amen. Amen.
Okay, I just want to take a minute and recognize some folks here today. First of all, President Wuba and his team, Victor. Thank you for coming. We're honored to have you here. Coach Fulmer, where are you hiding? Right there, right? All right. Coach Fulmer. Kate here?
Oh, yeah, baseball regional.
Okay, Kate's not here. Chelsea Worth?
Here.
Coach Kane's wife, Elena, is clear in the back. Coach Starr's family is right here. Right, Coach Boland is, where you at, Jerry? Jerry's right here. Who'd I miss, Mike? Anybody? Oh. I do have, I got Victor and,
He's only 1 year older than me.
Coach Cy Fritz. Right,
Josh.
Coach Cy Fritz, where you at, Kai? Coach? I'm gonna, Coach Fritz is gonna be 90 years old tomorrow. And the guy that does all the work for all this stuff, Josh Belize. Josh is right here. Okay, and after that,
Josh is going to come up and introduce the president of the college.
there you go. Thank you.
Okay, so we're very excited and thankful to have Dr. Daniel A. Wuba here with us. Dr. Wuba is our 9th president at Millersville and our 15th leader. So Dr. Wuba, please.
Thank you, Josh. And good morning, everyone. This is the second time I've had the privilege, to join this very important, group. And I should tell you that for me, I take this very seriously because I truly believe that whatever we are doing at Millersville today is basically based on the foundation that you laid. Because you made it possible for us to be doing all the things that we are doing today. So thank you for your continued commitment to your alma mater. And it is up to us now there, including my staff, Drew, and everybody here who are still working at Millersville, to make sure that we live up to your expectations, and we will try to do as much as possible. So thank you very much for inviting me. And I also want to thank the organizers because we just finished commencement, and to be able to pull something together like this takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of people, working on it for several, weeks and months to get it done. So thank you for the organizers for making this possible. What I want to do is in the next few minutes, just share with you what has been going on, at your alma mater over the past year since the last time we met here. And I'll just give you the highlights, because if I give you the details, we'll be here till tomorrow. So I think last May when I met with you, I told you that we were finishing our strategic plan at that time, and we're about to start a new one. And often, the strategic plan of an institution is basically what guides us as to what is important and how we invest in the university's resources. So on June 3rd of last year, after my meeting with you, the Council of Trustees approved our current strategic plan. It's a 5-year plan, and we call it Beyond Boundaries. And this pin that I'm wearing here is a strategic plan pin. And I have a pack here that, I would encourage each and every one of you. I think I brought enough for everyone to get one of these pins. But this is very important because whatever we do at Millersville at the moment is based on our strategic plan. And I want to walk you through the plan very quickly and give you some updates on how it relates to what we are doing. So the plan has 4 main pillars, and it is built around the student. So we have in our minds a student at the center of everything. So let's start with the first pillar. The first pillar is what we call provide accessible and affordable education to all students. So far as a student is interested in Millersville and is prepared to be there, we will provide them the opportunity to be there. But also we have to make sure that they can afford Millersville University's education. And that has been something that the entire university has been working on actively. So what do I mean? What have we been doing in this area? One, I'll give you the enrollment numbers. As at this spring, our enrollment is about 7,090 students. Of these, about 1,000 are graduate students, and about 6,000 are undergrads. And this past Saturday, we graduated 1,171 students who are now Millersville alums, who will be joining the alumni organization. Of this, 256 are teachers, and majority of them already have jobs, which is, to me, the most important thing, because when we recruit students to Millersville, I make them a promise. I don't want you to graduate from Millersville and go back home and sit in your parents' basement. I want to make sure that there's a job waiting for you, or you go to a graduate school, or you go to a professional school. And I'm very pleased to say currently for our graduating class, at least 80% of them have jobs or are going somewhere, which is an indication of the work that we are doing at Millersville. In terms of the population breakdown, of the 7,000 students that we have at Millersville this past spring, 2,200 of them are from Lancaster County. So we are serving our community. That's very, very important. We are the largest public regional university in Lancaster County, and we are making sure that we are serving our local community. The ceremony that took place this past Saturday, I'm very glad to say, were all hosted, or the keynote speakers were Millersville alums. And that is something that, I decided we should do at Millersville on day one when I arrived. Because at 6 other places that I've been, alumni have the strongest commitment to the institution than someone else who comes to speak to them. I give you an example. Understand Proud, when I arrived, we paid $25,000 to bring in the speaker. And this speaker will probably talk to the students for 20 minutes and then walk away. The students couldn't relate to the speaker. So now we bring in our alums. And when they come and they talk about the Sugar Bowl, or they talk about what's going on in Gage Hall, the students can relate to it. So this past Saturday, we brought in Dr. Dexter Davids, who graduated from the College of Education, and his wife also graduated from the College of Education. And then for the second commencement, we have Dr. Mitchell Crawford, who also graduated from Millersville. He's a physician. His wife is a physician. They met at Millersville. And then for the third ceremony, we also had a Mr. Jason Witt, who is a vice president for Comcast. His wife graduated from Millersville. That is what we are trying to do at our university for the students, to see that this is what they can also be in the future. So that is the framework that we are trying to promote our university. With regards to making the university affordable, we are doing everything we can to keep costs down for our students. For example, in 2018, when I arrived, we had 199 individual endowed scholarships. In the 8 years that I've been here, we've increased it to over 400 endowed scholarships. So we've doubled it in 8 years, meaning students who are admitted have access to these scholarships. And it is very, very important because I don't want any student who can come to Millersville not to be able to attend because of cost. Now, having said that, I want to also mention one program that is helping our students. It's called Grow PA, and that was actually put in place by one of our own alums, Senator Scott Martin, the senator. Grow PA basically is a program that, as a student, you have access to $5,000 in grants every year that you are a Millersville student. And if you take that grant, you commit to stay in Pennsylvania when you graduate for the number of years you get the grant. So basically, if you come from Maryland and you apply, you get that grant. If you get it for 4 years, after you graduate, you have to work in Pennsylvania for 4 years. And that has been also very helpful for our students. So we are trying to use as many possible strategies to ensure that our students are able to succeed at Millersville. Another strategic effort that we've made this year, still under Pillar 1, affordability, is to ensure that students can graduate on time. Because if a student comes to Millersville and they stay beyond 4 years, in most cases, they have to pay us additional to be there, and they don't earn money. So we've set up a committee that is helping to get our students the 4-year education, graduate them on time. That is student success, and that is what we are focused on. So that's those are just examples of what we are doing. When it comes to workforce development, in order to ensure that our students get jobs, we actually bring these companies to the campus to recruit them. And this past spring, we had over 140 companies on our campus recruiting our students. So as a senior, you think about it, no matter your major, you have an opportunity to apply as a senior before you graduate. And then a week later, we brought in GSK, GlaxoSmithKline, which is a company in Marietta. Why did we bring them to campus? The CEO and the team came to Millersville to actually recruit our students because GSK has recently invested $800 million in Marietta. And the way I look at it is Millersville students should be part of that workforce. That's what we are doing. So we try as much as possible to make sure that our students succeed. Now, let me talk about the strategic direction too. If you've brought the students to campus, what do you do next? You have to give them transformative experiences. That's our pillar 2. Because most of these students could have gone elsewhere. But if they've come to Millersville, we want to give them the best experience. Examples of that include our athletic programs. And I'm so proud and glad to say that we have with us here, Drew Former. Drew, I want you to stand up for those who haven't seen you from the back to see you. But, Drew is back at Millersville as our new football coach, and I'm delighted and thrilled about it. When we were going through the search, I kept hearing his name by alumni, but by the time I sat down with him face to face, I was convinced that he's the right person to be at Millersville. Okay, most of you know that's Dr. Jane Carpenter's, legacy. I'm hoping Drew is going to repeat that for Millersville. So the job is not easy, but I know you can do it. Okay. In addition to that, we brought back another Millersville alum for our basketball, women's basketball, and that is Jennifer Smith. Okay, she also graduated in 2002 from Millersville. She's been at Lock Haven for a long time, and she's coming back home. Okay, this is all important because this shows that the Millersville education they got made them successful, and now they are coming back to give back to the university to keep us evolving to the next level. Now, let me talk about pillar number 3. Just give you a little bit about what we are doing in terms of the facilities at Millersville. The first one is, most of you know the Brooks Gym. Okay, and that's a gym had a swimming pool. But while you were at Millersville, we didn't have a College of Business. And in 2019, we established a College of Business. So we had to give them a home. And the options that we had were twofold. Put up a new building for over $100 million, or look for a facility that can be renovated. And after we did a lot of the studies, we realized that we could renovate the Brooks Gym, which had been sitting there for the entire time that I'd been at Millersville. So we are currently finishing the renovation, and I will encourage you, whenever you visit campus, to just walk by, and the former Brooks Gym is going to be the home of the Lombardo College of Business. We invested $27 million into it, and it's going to, definitely a beautiful place for you to come and see. I will encourage you to just come into the facility and see what we've done. And this is basically training the next generation of Moraders who will go out there and do good work. In addition to that, we're also working on the locker rooms at the stadium. Yeah, I think most of you may have heard about it. Our locker rooms deserve, to be improved. So that project is going on at the moment, and we hope that by the beginning of the season, we'll have a better, locker room for our student athletes to be able to continue winning. That's the goal. And the last but not the least, talking about, resources, assets. In 2018, our entire endowment as a university was $38 million. In the past 8 years, we've been able to more than double it. This past, was it Tuesday? The foundation board met. And as we speak now, the current value of our endowment is $83 million, from $38 to $83 million in 8 years. Think about it. And I've been telling Victor that the goal is we want to get to $100 million. That's the goal. And I think we can do it. Okay. And it's basically because these endowments really help the university to support our programs, to support our students, in various forms. The last but not the least, I want to share with you that, and I want to thank all of you who were able to participate in this year's One Day Give. We had 3 different activities that, culminated into what we call the One Day Give. We started with the Extraordinary Give event in the fall of last year. And then on Morada Day, we really, this year, blew it out of the ballpark in the sense that within the 24 hours, we were able to raise $826,000. And it was mainly for, Morada Athletics. Chelsea here was a key part of it. You were a key part of it. I think we deserve a big round of applause for ourselves. Victor Ramos as the leader was, definitely the one who, was the architect behind it. But let me put it in context. You might think 826,000 in 24 hours. In April 2018, when we did One Day Give for 24 hours, we raised $125,000 in April 2018. And within 8 years, we've been able to raise at least 4 or 5 times that amount. I think that tells you where the university is heading. And it's all due to people like you, as alumni, who are getting re-engaged with the university. So let me end with just letting you know where we are in terms of going forward. As we speak now, we are waiting for PASHI. We are part of PASHI, the Penn State, System of Higher Education, to help us to figure out, that's to determine the tuition for next year. We don't set the tuition as a university, we set the fees, but not the tuition. And because, there's still discussions going on in Harrisburg, we don't know what the tuition will be next year. But ideally, we would like to keep the tuition low for us to be able to provide students the excellent education that Millersville can offer. So I want to thank you once again, for everything that you do, for your support for the university. If there's anything that you need from us, you know how to reach Drew, Victor Ramos, or myself. My office is always open. FIMSTEP Executive, Center. If you come in and you say you want to meet with the president, I will find a way to meet with you. So thank you very much for your continued support. Thank you.
Small story. What impressed me most about Dr. Wuba is during my sophomore year was when Kent State occurred. And if you remember, they canceled classes because of the protests that were going on. And we took our exams via Basically, you had to make an appointment with the professor, but not to belabor that. Coach Wuba was very interested because he kind of was similar to what you were going through with during COVID, and you were very interested in that. And right away, sir, I know the college is in good hands. And I'm very impressed by you. Before I introduce Joe, I always like to do with all the veterans in the audience. Would you please stand? All the veterans. A little bit about Harley. Harley was in Vietnam the same time my brother was, and my brother got out of Vietnam and he came to Millersville, and they bonded there. It's an honor to know you. I'd like to introduce my really good friend Joe. We're freshmen, and there's 35 kids on the team. Some of you have heard the story before. I grew up in a row home in Camden, New Jersey. He grew up in Long Island, New York, Long Island. And then they're introducing us all, and we're telling we're a friend. And Joe and I were like the foreign exchange students. So it is totally my honor. I've been friends with him for over 50 years. Please welcome Joe Malone.
So I was told to keep this short and sweet because they didn't want a recurrence of last year's Coach Fulmer or Coach Morgan. Coach Morgan's call. Sorry, Coach. So on a serious note, I'd like to first recognize Mrs. Kane in the back of the room. And I'd like to thank her publicly for sharing her husband with the football program for many years. I'm going to talk today about Coach Kane, and obviously he helped us with skills and drills and techniques to become better football players. But he was more than that. And I'm going to share 3 stories, although I could stand here for 2 hours talking about stories about Coach Kane. I'm going to limit it to 3. And at the end, I think I'll summarize just what he was other than just a football coach. Let me start with the first story. Before I ever got to Millersville, Coach Kane was a big part of my life. I had been accepted some other places, and I didn't want to go to any of them. University of Buffalo, Marist. I wasn't interested in any of those. Late February, early March, my head football coach approached me and said, "Hey, there's a small Pennsylvania State College that's interested in you. Do you want to look into it?" And I did. And at the time, I thought I wanted to be a drafting teacher. And just so happens that Millersville had an industrial arts program, which is now long gone. And I thought, yeah, I'm going to check that out. Talked my parents into taking the drive to Millersville. And as soon as I stepped on the campus, I knew that's where I was going to go. I loved the place. And I met with Coach Kane. Coach Kane sat me down and he looked. I had brought my transcripts along and I brought my grades along, and he looked at my grades. I'd almost crawled under my boards, and my class rank was up there. And he said, "Oh, you're going to have absolutely no problem." He said, "You'll get in." He said, "Go over to the admissions office and get an application, fill it out right away, and well, you'll get. I'm sure you're going to get accepted." Well, things were a lot different then than they are now. Now you don't even bring transcripts; you have to mail them. But in those days, it was different. So I waited a couple of weeks, and I got the letter from Millersville. And I thought, here we go. I'm in. I opened it up in Millersville State College. Regrets to inform you, you're denied. I'm thinking, what? And I was thinking that, well, maybe I will go to University of Buffalo. Maybe I'll go in the Marines. And I thought, yeah, no, I don't want either one of those. On a whim, I'm going to call Coach Kane. Now, let me back up. In those days, there were no cell phones. The only people who had cell phones was Dick Tracy. And on a chance, I called the university. They transferred me to the athletic office. And who answers the phone but Coach Kane? And I told him the story. And in his staccato voice, like he said, I'll take care of it. I'll take care of it. And he hangs up, never said goodbye, never said anything, hangs up the phone. So I'm waiting around. A couple hours later, maybe it was 4 or 5 hours later, he calls me back and he says, "You're in." He said, they're going to send you a packet. Make sure you send your $100 in for your room deposit, but you're in. So before I even stepped in a classroom, he was covering my butt. The second story, which is only a couple weeks into the first semester, at Millersville in the fall. Now, in those days, freshmen couldn't play varsity football, but for some reason they invited a few freshmen back to practice with the varsity in preseason. So I was on campus 2.5 or so, 3 weeks before the classes started, and I was learning the lay of the land. And that continued, unfortunately, 3 weeks into the season or into the semester, and I had not gone to a class yet. After practice one day, Coach Kane said to me, "I want to see you in my office." Okay. And I say, he says, "You like it here at Millersville?" I said, "I love it here at Millersville." He throws his temper tantrum. For those of you who know him, you know what I mean about his temper tantrum. And he's throwing stuff off the desk and he's cursing and carrying on with me. And he said, "Well, damn it, you better get your act together." And he throws me the grades. He had went and checked. In those days, there were no study halls for athletes. He went and checked on his own my grades. I had 4 F's and a D. Now here's the thing. I don't know how I got the D because I hadn't been to class yet. And I said to him, I said, "Coach, I'll take care of it. I'll just," no, he said, "Well, because you tutors for this and a tutor for that." I said, "No, Coach, I'll just start going to class. I'll take care of it." No, he said, "We're going to get you." I said, "Okay, I'll take an English tutor." And there's another story to that. But the bottom line to it is that my English tutor in those days is still correcting my grammar to this day. That's my second story.
You married her.
Yeah, I did. I did marry her. The third story. I'm a junior, and we're playing Westchester. And we have the ball, 1st and 10, I think somewhere between the 15 and 20, maybe it's the 18, doesn't matter. And I had never had a penalty in high school or in college. Never. And I get called for holding. It was a bogus call. I'm not sure if the official got the wrong number or what it was, but in any case, I lost my composure. And I said something I shouldn't have said to the official, which cost me another 15. Now, Carpenter is going crazy. And I think he tried to send somebody in to pull me out, but I didn't go. As it happens, on the next play, the official, after I gave him some grief, calls me again, and the half ends. So instead of scoring, now we're back at like the 35 or 40. It doesn't really matter. We head off the field. We're going into the locker room, and Coach Kane is standing outside the door. And he grabs my arm. He says, "We're not going inside." He said, "We're going to spend halftime outside." Coach is a little upset. So, however, with that, Coach King made me pay on Monday for those 3 penalties. Big time. Now, let me put this all together. Coach King cared more about us, like people. The first one, he didn't even know me from Adam, but he knew I wanted to be in Millersville, and he got me in. Cared for me as a person. Secondly, he cared for me as a student. He went and looked at my grades. In those days, that was unheard of. Thirdly, he looked at me like a son. I'll give you a little story. When I was a kid, and I guess I'd get a lot of trouble when I was a kid, but in any case, I did something in the neighborhood that was absolutely wrong. And the neighbor man came over and he's going to rip my head off. And my dad came out and said, "No, I'll take care of it." And my dad did take care of it because I was his son. And that's how Coach Kane treated me. So, in summary, he was more than just a coach. He was a special person. And I miss him.
We had to go a little bit off our script. We're going to come back and have like an open mic to talk about Coach Kane as well. Carl?
Thank you, Joe. Have a safe trip, brother.
Thank you.
Sorry to both. He's a lineman. We won't miss him much. Okay, on your agenda, we are just going to make a quick change as is typical. Can you turn it up? I can. Geez, this isn't anything like being at home. Our next speaker is going to be Chelsea Worth. Chelsea's got some obligations and things she needs to get to, so we're moving her into this spot, and then we'll take things over. So without ado, Chelsea Worth, thank you very much. Good to see you again.
Yeah. My obligation is our baseball team made it to regionals, so I need to be there today. Thank you all for having me as always. This is something we look forward to. I also want to thank the planners, whoever said I did any work for this. I really don't do much except show up. So thank you, Josh and Carl and Mike and everyone who put this together today. It's always a delight to see all of you. I really just want to thank you all. It's been a pleasure getting to know you. I think most of you know my last day with Millersville is going to be June 1st. I'm moving on. It was not an easy decision, but it was the right one for me and my family. But it's been a pleasure. The last 6 years, I've really enjoyed getting to know this group. I don't think there are too many other, especially organizations that embody Marauder pride quite like the MAK group. And you've been involved from day one. So I really just personally want to thank all of you. It's been a joy getting to know you. On a professional note, I want to thank you as well. You have all been so generous to our football program. And I want to talk specifically about the MAK endowment. When I started in 2020, yes, 2 weeks before COVID hit, I started this position. That was interesting. But our endowment, the MAK endowment, was sitting at about $20,000 when I started. And I had a long conversation with Carl Borst, and he said, I want to get to 100. And I almost choked on the drink that I had. I said, by when do you want to get it to 100,000? He said, I want to get to 100,000. I said, okay. So we rolled up our sleeves and we put together a plan. We started bringing back people who are passionate about Millersville football and the MAK fraternity. And I'm proud to say we are just shy of 100,000. We're a little less than $10,000 away from hitting that goal. So I know within this next year, though I won't be here to see it professionally, I'm excited to see you achieve that within this next year. So I'd like us just to all give a round of applause to everyone who's contributed to that endowment. And some of you in this room, I won't name names, have been very significant contributors to that endowment. We certainly wouldn't be where it is today without you. For those of you who don't know, 75% of that scholarship goes to a football student athlete, and the other 25% goes to another male sport. So it's cool. Jerry, Coach Boland's son, Gavin, received the scholarship, and he is not the selector. There's no bias involved. That was a department decision because it's considered a department award. But it's been really cool to see the student athletes that it's impacted. Obviously, it's had a tremendous impact on football, but other male sports as well, including Coach Boland's son, and Bo Meekum also received the award. He was our student athlete advisory committee president, a two-time captain in the golf program, and was one of less than 10 to be selected to UNC's graduate program. So it's reached some really exceptional student athletes and will continue to make a difference. Endowments are awarded in perpetuity. So long after all of us are gone, in 500 years from now, when we're all deceased, it'll still be going on and benefiting the program. So I really that's all I wanted to say is really thank you. Again, professionally, but more so personally, it's been an absolute joy getting to know all of you. I'm not going anywhere. I'm an alum of the university as well as a donor to the department. I did promise Jerry if they get a women's wrestling program, I'd be the first donor. So he's going to hold me to that. But I'll still be at all the games. I certainly look forward to seeing what Coach Fulmer does with the team this year. I've had the pleasure of hosting several football interns this past semester. They are all very excited for the change in leadership, and it's really moving in a positive direction, undoubtedly. So I'll certainly be there. This time, instead of serving you drinks, I will be drinking them with you. So very excited for that. Thank you again. It's been a pleasure, and just go Bill.
Hold on a second, Carl, please. Hold on. Go long.
Long? Oh my gosh, what did you do?
A lot of football players signed this. You don't realize what an impact you had on us. And this was a token of what we feel. Thank you. It's a football signed by as many we can get. I hope you get a chance to sign it. And we really appreciate it.
Oh, this is lovely. Oh my gosh, I love it so much. Thank you.
Not for nothing. I think Drew should throw your best. Gets the first one. Another fellow, young man from Jersey, Jersey guy. I got, got to talk up for them. Josh Police came on board a few years ago. He basically is coordinating alumni activity, and he's taken, this year, I was working full time. Went back to work full time. So he and Carl really put this together, this year. So Josh, would you like to speak?
When I came on board in 2024, one of the first things that Chelsea said to me was, Chelsea, she said, Josh, you have to get connected with this MAK football group at Shady Maple. So it was thanks to her that I started coming. So I just want to say also thank you, Chelsea. And you're going to be missed, but I'm glad that you're not going far. So we have a ton of things happening in the alumni office, and I'm not going to take very long because I know that I'm one of the people standing between you and your next plate of food. So I just want to highlight a few quick things. One of the things that we're very excited and proud for this year, as we recognize America 250, last year we started doing a university ornament, especially for our alumni. And our holiday ornament, our keepsake this year, is actually our wreath laying ceremony that we do with the Civil War Monument every year with our cadets. So the ROTC office and the alumni office are right next to each other. And I told Greg when I saw him last year, I'm like, yeah, I go get my haircut over at the ROTC office. He's like, I knew I liked your haircut. But we do a lot to support our students and our veterans, our military. So we have a really awesome keepsake this year for America 250. So please stop by and check that out. I'd love to send this home with a few of you today. So if you have any questions, let me know. Another thing that we completed recently was our oral history project. We put this book together this time last year. We were putting this book together. This is a huge book, and it contains a ton of stories from you, our alumni, and about your time at the Ville. So when you get a chance, check out this book. And if you'd like to have a copy of this, I'd like to send one home with you as well. So between working with our current students to involve our alumni with our current traditions and doing things like collecting our alumni stories, we're really firing on all cylinders. But really what I hope that you know is that if you're looking for a way to stay connected with the Ville, maybe it's been a while since you've been on campus, maybe you're going to football games, but you want to do a little bit more. We have a ton of things happening, and I would be very happy to get you all connected, especially, Carl, Mike, they're doing a ton. But if there's something that you want to do as well, we would love to have you. So please say hi and yeah, go Ville.
Okay, where's John Schleier? Right there's John. John's gonna get up and talk to us a little bit about former coach Jerry Lampy, who was also a teammate of many of ours. You don't have any flags in your pocket. You're not gonna throw a flag on me, are you? John, by the way, was an official in the NFL.
Thank you. Jerry and I go way back. Now, I'm one of the older guys in the room, and we lost a really good guy. This past January, on the 29th, Jerry died in Florida at the age of 79. When I had first come to Millersville in 67, Jerry had just
Yeah. Talk about an entrance. I mean, we hate the linemen. They don't get any attention. Jerry, how you doing, bro? Good to see you, Terry.
Thank you.
This is good. This is good for a reason. Terry Bork played in the early 70s. He was one of the people that played with Coach Carpenter. So this is an under Coach Carpenter. I happened to be there when Coach Katchmer was there. And then I was fortunate enough with several other guys in the room to be part of the first team, which Coach Carpenter coached. And from there, we all had the opportunity to watch what transpired, and we hope that this is what you do. It's going to bring a lot of hope and praise to this school because we know it can be done. And I know that every guy in this room and every person in this room is going to be there for you, Coach. So, Jerry. Jerry Lampe, as I said, passed away this past January. He had a tough life, but I have one story to tell you. Jerry, when he graduated, he'd come from Lincoln High School in Philadelphia, which I went to, which Terry went to, and he then went on to Wesley College, and he transferred up here, and he was a defensive tackle. And in Coach Carpenter's first year, Coach asked him to be part of his coaching staff. He was a big, burly guy, but a fair and honest person. He influenced a lot of people, just a good soul. And that to me is important as people. You know, just be an honest person and treat people the way you want to be treated. And that's how Jerry did. He talked to football players on the field like that. Great sense of humor. But Jerry had a tough road to hoe. When he graduated, he went and became a driver education teacher who he studied under Moon Mullins, who was the driver education teacher here for many, many years. And I'm sure many of us had the courses that he took. Jerry then went on to become the disciplinarian at William Tennant High School. He then got sick, but he influenced a lot of people. And in this life, all you had to do is influence one person specially. And Jerry was told by a doctor that he was going to lose his kidney. He was going to die if he didn't have a kidney transplant. Well, he influenced a young girl. That didn't surprise me, but he influenced a young girl that said, well, my sister's in advertising. Let's see if we can get you a kidney someplace. Well, I was coming home from business meetings in Philadelphia, and I was driving up 95, and there on a billboard on Route 95 was a picture of Jerry Lampe. And I go, oh my God, they're after me. This is not good. And then I proceeded a little bit further, and there was another billboard. Can you help this man? I'm thinking, oh, I got to read it this time. It wasn't wanted there or anything like that. There was another one that was put up over New Jersey on 95. Can you help this man? Well, he got all sorts of different responses from people. I will sell you one of my 3 kidneys for $100,000. I will give you a kidney for $250,000. I'm telling you, this is all true stuff. Finally, one day he gets a call from a veterinarian over in New Jersey who had no family and said, Mr. Lampe, I saw your picture on 95 and I want to help you. You must have helped somebody because they put your pictures up there. And she went, they did a match, went to the University of Pennsylvania. Out of nowhere, this guy had life and he lived for the next 15 years. Just an incredible influence by somebody that really wanted to help somebody and we never knew. So there are good things out there. Jerry, this past year or last year in 25 was in the hospital quite a bit of time. And I had the opportunity to speak to him. He got out of the hospital finally right before Christmas. And I spoke to him in Florida. In January, he was home. And then they said, this isn't going to work. We're going to put you in hospice. And Jerry got to see what he wanted to do and live his life the way he wanted to do. But he was a good soul. He influenced a lot of people. And I just want to tell you, he'll be missed by many, many people. So God bless him and may you rest in peace up here, my friend. And I'll see you on the other side.
No, I didn't tell him. He lived in Northeast Philly. One day I went over to his house. I think Larry Hawkey was there. Larry here. Today he went over to his house. Jerry had an obsession with Bethlehem. Yeah, one poor man was so old, his testicles were dragging on the ground.
Talk about being arisen from the.
Terry Borak is retired Philadelphia police sergeant. So I hadn't seen him for years and years. We had a little reunion at the FOP, and there was other cops there, along with a lot of these people too, a lot of these men. And so I kept calling him Dactyl, Dactyl. And he said, "These people don't know that. These know Borak. They don't know." I said, "How did you?" I always known as Terry Dactyl. And he said, "Coach Dean told me that one day." He said, and it stuck. But he lost it when he got to Philly. But I would have, I think it was 3 years ago, I went down to Sarasota to see Jerry Lampy, Rocker Lampy. I'd been a bouncer with him in the summer down at the shore. He got me a job there. And he was very helpful, good guy. So he tells me, so we're going to go out to my house, Harley. It's a gated community. He said, but I don't want you to feel bad when that gate cringes when I go through. So he was still the same guy, and I'm going to miss him. He's a good man, but well, thank you very much.
Is Steve Koch here? Steve Koch?
No, it's not here.
No. Steve was going to introduce Coach Starr, so I'm gonna have to take that on. Before I do that, a few of our people who played for us got special recognition this year. Rick Risky, who graduated 2 years after me, Distinguished Alumni Award. Rick Huck, who was a painter, and I'd like to, you can give me that now. He, if you remember, he got the Distinguished Alumni Award this year. And if Coach Fulmer would like to come up this present time, there's a story behind this. A couple years ago, we asked Rick to draw this, and this is Carl, who was his brother on the fraternity, big brother. And then this is a fellow named Howie Greenberg. Howie was a year behind me, and unfortunately, Howie died in a car accident when he was only 23 years old. So he was a North Jersey kid along with Huck. So we had asked Rick to please do a work, and he did this basically for nothing. And you can see somewhere in there, he uses the phrase, Coach, the difference pride makes, Coach Carpenter. And this is something, and it was in Chelsea's office for a little bit, and we give it to Drew Fulmer. I want you to know this represents a lot of sentiment and a lot of feelings, and we hope you find a good home for that, Coach.
Thank you very much.
Coach will talk about Mike Ortman and John Ricketts. Both of them were named to the Wall of Honor. At this time, anyone who's in the Wall of Honor, would you please stand? Football Wall of Honor. Up. Anybody who is in the Alumni Hall of Fame, please stand. All. Okay, I'm going to speak a little bit about, I wasn't prepared. I guess Steve Koch was going to handle this, but I was very fortunate to play for the years that changed. I played 2 years. Of course, I played for freshman team, and then Coach Catchmere, and then Coach Carpenter came in the spring of my sophomore year. And then he brought along with him quite a personality, and his name was Pete Starr. And I smile because my roommate, Duddy Davis, who a lot of you know, we used to imitate him all the time. So, Coach, I can't do it justice. I wish Duddy was here. He'd say, like, Mike, you're in a two. And he had these glasses that would push on his nose. Hey, Mike, come now. And that's how he talked. Who remembers that's how he talked? And there's quite a few people. He dealt with down linemen. I played defensive middle guard and defensive tackle for him. And he was really an amazing guy. He was a Navy veteran. He had served in the Korean War. He went to North Carolina State. He actually played with Joe Scarpati. He was the only or the first coach, if I'm not mistaken, that Coach Carpenter brought with him to help. And he stayed just a few years, and then he went on to have a successful high school career. His son is here, and I hope his son shares a couple stories. He loved football, and he loved the 5-2 defense, and he was a passionate man. And I think that we say this a lot. Anyone who had the privilege of playing under Coach Starr is better for it. Rick, would you say that?
Yes.
Yeah. So he was a great guy. Yeah, everybody's a winner. And the way he used to present that was pretty good.
Yes.
And again, he liked me, and I certainly liked the guy. So basically, we have three people that we're going to leave a mic now open for about 10 minutes or so. And just like Harley did, would anyone like to share a story on either Jerry Lampy or Coach Kane or Coach Starr? You're welcome to come up. I'll start one with Kane. He wasn't my coach, but one of the greatest runs I ever saw was against Kutztown. And this man over here was the guy who did it, Carl Borst. And Carl Borst does this amazing run, 80 yards, touchdown, or got down inside the 5 or something like that. And basically it was a touchdown, yeah. And we come out, and here's Carl, and no one's running to get him or to say hi or congratulate him. Coach Kane fell over on the field, and everyone's gathered around Coach Kane. And I don't know if you guys remember that. It's like, where's Carl? He just did an 80-yard touchdown run, nobody's coming out. And that was the first story. But, Coach Kane, even though I was defense, he took an interest in me. And again, he was a great guy. And I would open now the mic if anyone would like to say anything about Jerry, Coach Kane, or Coach Starr, please. We have about 10 minutes.
I can't tell my Coach Stark story. No one can believe it. Yeah.
Coach Starr was my high school coach at Lebanon Catholic. And so when he came, it was really something. He was a force for good, and he was a nice man, but he was tough. And everybody feared him in high school. And he was a great coach. We had 3 undefeated teams under him and won the league many times. And he was just a great guy. And when Mike said we're going to have not a roast for Coach Starr, but I kept on thinking it's a long time ago. I think it was 1966, and he came, and he was a tough guy. I'll tell you, he was everybody loved him at school, and he was very fair, very nice, came from the old school. And a lot of guys here sure don't remember him because played after he did. And I just want to say to his family, he was a great man. And I want to say one more thing. 2 of the veterans stood up, but Harley Shope, who you guys will probably know, was a combat wounded veteran in Vietnam. And I'll tell you a real short story. Harley got shot in the arm, I believe, in the left arm. And when he was in a tent in Vietnam, someone took a photograph of him with his arm stretched out with about 10 pair of scissors on it. And Harley's face was back there screaming. And someone must have took a slide of that, Harley, remember? And I lived with Harley up in Penn Dorms, and we'd have a party, and we'd stick the slide on of this Harley screaming onto the wall during the party. You remember that, Harley? And I just want to say it was great being with Harley, and I think we honor him for that. And thank you, everybody, very much.
I probably shouldn't do this because my recollection is sketchy. This is Coach Kane. It was either sophomore or junior year. I've spoken to Carl about it, a couple other people. I spoke to his wife, Lena, if he ever shared this, and she denies that this happened. My recollection was an away game. I thought it was Cheney. There was an altercation in the on the field. It was the only fight that I ever saw Millersville involved in my 4 years. It was down from our bench in the far right corner, and it was basically 11 v 11. I don't know what the unpleasantness was, but what happened is their bench cleared, and now it's their team against our defense. And I didn't know what to do. And myself and a couple other people got up and we start moving across the field. And I felt that, we probably shouldn't do this, but you can't let your brothers in this jackpot. And Coach Kane comes flying past, turns around, looks at us encroaching on the field and goes, "Stop, stop." And we all did. All right. He turns and looks at the field. He does this 3 times where he is holding us. And I know for myself, I'll just speak for myself. I was petrified to violate this, even though my brothers are in the jackpot. And with that, he's looking over his shoulder and he sees that our guys are in Dutch. Now, he was unequivocal, stop. But when he saw their bench empty, I swear to you, he turns and says, "Okay, get him." Absolutely. And we did. So we go out there, and it's if anybody ever saw a bar fight, it's a lot of people that are just like dancing with each other. There's only a couple of combatants that really are into it. The referees, all the flags are gone. They're all up in the air. And with that, I see out of the corner of my eye, one of our players, and I can't pin it down. It was either Duddy Davis or it was Kenny Soteric. If anybody can correct me on this, who this was as a recollection, goes running past without his helmet, vaults in the air, and I'm telling you, goes right down in the middle of the pile of this without his hat. About 30 seconds later, he comes out crawling between the legs, runs off the field. About 15 seconds later, he comes back, this time with his hat on, vaults in the air, and jumps in the middle of the pile. Truth, anybody have any recollection of this? Or was this my imagination? Coach Kane, Carl and I both worked in the coach's office. He was a gentleman. He was very, very principled. And I never looked at him as a friend. And we keep hearing the same recount, is that these coaches were gentlemen and they were like father figures. And that's the way I looked at him. And he shared a couple things with me over the course of those 4 years that were seminal in the rest of my life. Thank you, Coach Kane. Thank you, Lena.
Speak back here. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. Two quick stories. Take very long. I was a freshman, Coach Carter's first year. We all practiced up on that backfield. 100 some of us could only bring it back 30 some guys. I'm not one. I go down and I captain of the freshman football team. I'm not coming back. Went down to the swimming pool in Brooks Hall. Coach Kane's giving instructions. I go up and I said, "Coach," he goes, "I'm bringing you back. You can't quit." So I won't quit. He brought me back as a center. offensive center. Joe Malone's job was everything. But he saved my life. I would be cut. I wouldn't come back. So I definitely thank you for that. Coach Starr, as a linebacker, so during the timeouts, I had to come over and talk to the bench. I don't know if they still do that because the team wasn't allowed to. So I come over to the bench. Coach Clark was out there, and he's grabbing me and we're gonna bust you. Tell him to explode. Now, if I go back in that huddle and tell him not to explode, they're gonna explode on me. Behind Coach Clark, there's Coach Stark giving me the signal. No, it was a unique time. Thank you very much.
Hello, I'm Dan Sedolnik. I didn't play football at Millersville. I was too small. A little bit bigger than Jerry, but not much. But I'm now working with the Alumni Association and I'm working with the Scholarship and Awards Committee. And I have a little story about football that I did enjoy. I graduated in 75. Mike was my coach for 1 year. He graduated and couldn't get a job, so they made him the assistant coach for free. I think you were in grad school, believe it or not. Anyway, we had a good time. And I was teaching and coaching and refereeing in Virginia down by Shepherdstown College. And in the 80s, Millersville was playing Shepherd College University at the time. And a lot of my peers were Shepherd graduates. And I was always excited to go over to Shepherdstown and watch Coach Carpenter and Millersville beat the crap out of them. Unfortunately, now they're in our conference. And the last time I saw them play, we didn't quite kick their ass, but excuse me. But I know that there's a future. And what I want to see if I can, and I'm glad that you're all here supporting the program, is Millersville back on top in the top tier of the PSAC and doing well. And Coach, good luck. Thank you.
No, I'm okay. Hi, all. I'm Pete Stark Jr., obviously. I don't have, honestly, many stories or many memories. My dad didn't share much of what his time in Millersville. I wanted to come up and say thank you for having us, and I appreciate hearing any of Mike's stories that he shared with me on the phone. My dad was significantly older than most fathers of that time, so he kind of kept a lot of that kind of to himself until I got to be a little bit older, and he wasn't able to share those. But I will say that I had heard many times that when he was a high school coach, Millersville coach, or running programs out in California during an earthquake, that you could hear him absolutely everywhere in the field. It did not matter how loud the stadium was. It didn't matter who was cheering. You could be in the parking lot and you could be able to hear his voice yelling at everyone to keep moving and move fast. But I appreciate all the stories. And if anybody wants to share anything with me, I really appreciate it. But thank you so much for having us.
Anyone else would like to make a comment about any of the three?
Joe, it's kind of good job, Joe. Mike.
I really do have some short stories, but I was thinking many times about what happened at Quantico, Virginia, with me and Coach King. I came from the city boy public league in Philadelphia, and we didn't have a weight program. There was nothing going on in the spring. We had 2 days of practice in the fall, so I wasn't prepared for Millersville when you're having 3 practices a day, and that's all you're doing. And Coach, I kind of stayed away from Coach Kane. He was a man of few words, but I knew those words, I didn't want to hear them necessarily. Because I remember he had a lot of words for Harry, Oh, yeah. A lot of words for Harry. And they're stories in themselves. But in terms of Coach Kane, when I was in, we were in Quantico for pre-fall practice. And we slept in the barracks. We did everything that the Marines down there were doing and getting up early. Not as early as those guys. But the bathrooms were latrines with maybe 50 toilets in it, one right next to the other. And one morning I got up, I had to go to the bathroom, and I'm sitting down, and Coach Kane comes walking in. Doesn't say anything to me. He's got a newspaper. Out of these 50 latrines, he sits down right next to me. And I'm thinking, this is going to be interesting. Because I don't know, should I say hi to him? He didn't say hi to me. He just starts reading the paper. And I didn't even want to get up at that point. I was nailed to that seat. And he puts the paper down. And he said, Joe, I just want to tell you a couple of things. I can't remember what those things were. But that's my memory of Coach Kane and my memory with Harry Buscliffe with Coach Kane. I'm sure he could come up and say a couple of things. As far as Jerry Lampe goes, Jerry was from the public league too. I think he went to Lincoln High School. And he coached the freshman team. I was on the first freshmen that were coming in when Coach Carpenter got the job. And we had I think we had a 6-0 record, undefeated. Now in Millersville, no one had ever beaten, it sounded like no one ever beat Westchester before. So I think we played them in the last game and we beat them. And Coach Lampe threw us a huge party. I'm not giving any details about that, but it was quite interesting. But he was a good guy. Jerry, I'm sad to hear that he's passed. But he was a great contributor to the coaching staff and to our progress as freshmen there. And looking forward to helping out you guys who have been there for a while win some games. So those are my memories for Coach Kane and Jerry Lampe.
Before Harry gets up and he's going to speak, when I got the Hall of Fame award, I came back and I saw Coach Starr and his son there, and his son was a great swimmer, rider, and I never saw a boy more attached to his father than I saw when you two were walking on that field, and that was my memory. I was at halftime. They introduced me as Hall of Fame, and then I saw Coach Starr walking around. And you were like glued to his shoulder, to his hip, and I remember telling people that. So I know Coach married late in life, but he did a great job, and I know he'd be really proud of you. Harry?
Yeah, I got a bad shoulder, right? Bring me up here. Nothing. There's not too much to say about Coach Kane that hasn't already been said. I recall my early experiences with him as mostly he was a mentor when I began with him. And then he became a coach and a friend. I recall one of the greatest times I ever had with him was I had a beer with Coach one time. And he shared some things with me because I was having a tough time with Coach Carpenter at the time. Last time I spoke with you guys, I told you what kind of punk I was with Carpenter and everything. I just didn't want to accept the discipline that was required to be in the law at that time. Well, Kane was like the buffer for me. He would, I guess Coach Carpenter didn't want to treat you with like a ton of respect because I probably didn't deserve it. But Kane did. Coach Kane sat me down, explained some things to me, really kept me in school. So I was thinking about transferring, and he told me what a stupid thing that would be to do. I don't know if any of you ever got a chance after he was left coaching. I'm kind of sad I didn't, because I talked to Mike a couple times, and I thought maybe we were going to go out and see him, because I knew he was in some health situations that he wasn't going to be around that much longer.
But I did call him and I talked to him on the phone and he said, Harry, I don't think you'd want to come out and see me. He said, I'm not doing that good. And then a couple of years later, he passed. Every one of the coaches we had, or at least I had when I was here, were unbelievable men. Now, I didn't know that when I was here, okay, because I was a punky kid, 18, 19. I think I graduated, I was 20 years old. So it was like 20 or 21, right?
21, I was.
All right. Could have been. But I think they had an impression on us. I think everybody that's in this room could have a story about one of the coaches, what they did, how they did it, their reasoning and their rationale. But when you all come to think that they must have been pretty damn good because a lot of us that played for them are here right now. I played with some of the greats when I played. I played with, of course, Batty and Panarella, Portman, Ricketts. I mean, some of the guys in the room were, I mean, we had unbelievable players, unbelievable athletes. And these guys molded us into a team that for 40 years, 40 or 45, like, he knows all the data, but about 40 years, I don't think they had a winning program. I could be wrong. But Carpenter, in our senior year, turned it into a winning program. And I think Mike Burke led that team. So we had some guys that really were extraordinary people in the program. Two guys that just got into the Wall of Honor, Mike Ortman and John Ricketts, were unbelievable players and men and people. So I'm excited because I get a chance to see all these guys every year, at least for another 15 maybe. Thanks.
All right, one last thing about Coach Starr. I only got to spend part of a season with him, but that particular year, which was Carpenter's first year, and Coach Starr was there, Garganese and I had to stay in the dorm with the rest of the team. We were captains, and so one of our penalties was we had to stay with these lunkheads in the dorm. But it was a little exciting. And Pete Jr., I just want to share this with you because you may have a few traits like your father. And one of those traits was that he used to walk around the dorm naked at summer camp. And I just want to share that with you. I'm not sure if your wife says you do that too at home. I'm not sure. But anyhow, that's my Pete Starr story. And I just wanted to share that with you to keep the levity where it needs to be.
Time for one or two more. Does anyone like to? You can, why, stay right there, yeah.
This is not from a coaching standpoint. Carl, we called him Chick as in the department. I was a member of the phys ed department. Carl's office was on a hall of mine. And we both lived out in the country and we both gardened. And Chick got a bigger garden than I had. But when I first went there, you know, coaches, we'd go out for lunch and stuff like that. He was eating a normal food. Then all of a sudden, he and Lena got into a real fitness game. And instead of bringing lunch along, he'd bring a bowl of kale. And he would be eating that. Well, we used to kid him that he wasn't eating, he was grazing. Another story, one other story. Most of you guys weren't around when 3 Mile Island occurred. And he lived out on the farm and he was raising a calf. Well, they were going to get out of there and they went down to his parents' place, I believe, down in Delaware. He put the calf in the back of his car to take that calf home so he'd have it if we could get back to Lancaster. Those are the two funny stories I remember about Carl. Oh, one final thing, like I said, I was on a 3-year summer sabbatical and I was director of campus recreation. And the only person in the department that I would trust replacing me was Carl. And he did a great job. So those are my Carl cases.
When I close the mic in a couple minutes, anyone like a final on any of the three gentlemen? Okay, I think we all remember them all with fondness, and they were all part of the Marauder pride that we all share. Next new thing, where I'm going to introduce a really dear friend of mine. He's the wrestling coach at Millersville University. I had the honor of working with Jerry for 1 year at Shawnee High School. He also, believe it or not, he was a superintendent. He was a principal. And then he gave it all up to become the head wrestling coach down in West Virginia, Davis and Elkins D&E, and started the program there. And then when Danny Sedelnik told me that there was going to be an opening, Dan, at Millersville, I called up Coach. I didn't know what his status was, and I no sooner got the like, Coach, are you? Yes. I didn't finish the sentence, and he knew about the opening, and they put him in touch. A lot of people here went to bat for Jerry, but from what I understand, Chelsea was one of them. Chelsea said she never saw anyone nail an interview as much as he did when he was there.
Except for your pizza. That's the only question.
Right.
She failed.
That's true. He's right.
And so, with everyone's help, Jerry is now the wrestling coach at Millersville. He's got it going in the right direction, and I'd like to just let him speak for a bit.
All right, so for the record, my favorite pizza topping is sausage, which is not a bad pizza topping. Okay, Chelsea's favorite pizza topping is pineapple and ham.
Lord.
Okay, so not a real pizza. I just want to thank everybody here. I want to thank the committee for inviting me again. It's always a pleasure. I just think it's to dive deep and just look at what tradition looks like is just from a coaching standpoint, from an educator standpoint, from a family man standpoint. It doesn't get any better than a tight group like this, just continuing to get together, share stories. I love hearing them every year. So thank you for that. I want to thank you for the support. Like Chelsea said, the scholarship that goes to other male athletes, and my son is very fortunate. So, and people like to know, like, okay, where's my money going? Okay, so just to share a little bit about the athlete that got it. Again, he's my son, but he was a redshirt freshman this year. He has the highest GPA on our team. He has arguably the toughest major on the team. He's a dual major. He's a computer science major and automotive and mechanic engineering major. He is a FCA leader. He's currently in the Dominican Republic on a mission trip right now with the Fellowship of Christian Athletes. He's a SAC rep for our wrestling team. And like I said, he's just finished his redshirt freshman year. He came one win away from qualifying for the national tournament on a torn LCL, which is kind of crazy. Had this bionic knee brace wrestling in a regional tournament, and just had a great run. Just fell a match short. So and he was just at our banquet. He was just voted on by his teammates as a Ted Rupp Award winner, which is the most prestigious award that can be given to any one of our athletes. So I didn't pick him to get the scholarship, but it's going to a pretty good dude. And I also want to thank you for the donation you gave us last year that went to some extra equipment in our auxiliary room. Our guys are fortunate enough to now we have some nice supplemental equipment down there. And we've added that with your generosity. We've added a speed bike and a rowing machine. So thank you for that. Knowing the room, I just want to share a quick story. I didn't play football in college, but I almost did, believe it or not. So my freshman year up at Lycoming College, has anybody ever heard the name Frank Girardi, the head coach? He was the coach at Lycoming. So we're preseason training up around the football stadium. And like I said, it's my freshman year and everything that we're doing, I was fortunate enough to finish first. The hill workouts, the bleacher workouts, the 400s, the 100s. And Coach G notices this. I developed a really good relationship with him over the 4 years. So he comes up to me and he says, you ever play football? And I said, yeah, I did. I played 2 years football in high school. Because when you think about coming out and returning kicks, and I laughed at him. He goes, no, I'm serious. I'm serious. And I didn't have to look. Coach G was only this big. He was only an inch bigger than me. So we were like eye to eye, and he was dead serious. And I was like, wow, Coach, thanks. Let's I don't know what to say except, I mean, let's take the smallest guy on campus and put him in the middle of a war zone 6 times a game. Great idea, Coach. But so we continue, and I said, so later, a couple weeks later, I get the feeling that he's kind of serious about this. And Coach Krebs, my coach, is very serious about me not doing it. So so I said, I'll tell you what, if I'm an All-American before my senior year, so an All-American in wrestling, get to finish in the top 8 in the country at the national tournament. If I'm an All-American before my junior year, I'll think about it. And so I have a pretty good freshman year. My sophomore year, I come one match away from qualifying for nationals. My junior year, early on, I knock off a couple ranked guys, and I get into the national rankings, and I qualify for the national tournament, and things are looking like I might play football next year. And and yeah, so I would go out to the national tournament, and I'm telling this story in hindsight now. So I go out and I lose my first match, and I guess I'm not playing football next year. But coming through the wrestlebacks, I pick up win, win, win. Now I'm 1 win away from being an All-American, and it's a 1-1 match late in the 3rd period against a kid that beat me earlier in the season, and I got a late takedown and end up winning the match. And I come off the mat, and I'm all excited, and my coach says, "There's no bleeping way you're playing football next year." Yeah, so I didn't play football as a senior, but still had a great relationship with Coach G. As a matter of fact, when he inducted me in the Hall of Fame, he was retiring, and when I got up, I was like, I just want to congratulate Coach G, not only for retiring but finally inducting someone in the Hall of Fame shorter than him. So he, like I said, good relationship, and that's what life's about. Life's about getting good relationships, and there's good people in this room. There's good people that play football. There's good people that wrestle. There's good people that do a lot of things. I'm thankful to be surrounded by good people in this room, and I appreciate all the support you give to Millersville and their student athletes. Thank you.
Thank you, Coach. Okay, no more Coach Star stories, promise, Pete. I just want to point one thing out before I introduce our new head coach here, and that is I want to touch base back on the MAK scholarship. I just want to let everybody know that it is the only social fraternity scholarship at Millersville. All right, so for all the years that everything's gone on, I just want to mention that we are very, very close to $100,000. I don't know what that means to you guys, but I still have a receipt from my sophomore year. It cost $995 to go to Millersville, all in room, board, classes, everything then. And we have a scholarship now that's almost $100,000, and it's because of you guys. So thank you. Without further ado, I would like to, and it's my honor, to introduce Drew Fulmer, 3-time All-American and a Kodak All-American when he played at Millersville, our new head football coach. Drew, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And thank you all for being here, number one. And, thank you so much for your support, both obviously the financial part of it, we greatly appreciate, but as much as anything, just the encouragement. And there's so many guys in the room that I'll be honest, I've known your names for years because when you come here and you play for Coach Carpenter, you learned about the history of the program. And Chelsea's heard me talk about this. And you didn't maybe always necessarily know who the person was, but you knew about them because this is what so and so did this year. This is what so and so did that year, so and so forth. So it's an honor, it's a privilege for me to be here with you guys right now, and it's an honor and privilege to be the head coach at Millersville. I've told this story often. I played for my father in high school. He was a high school football coach for over 30 years and was an educator. And I went to Millersville. I thought I was going to teach elementary school or I was going to be an elementary ed major, try to walk onto the football team. And more than anything, just wanted to be a part of a winning program. And when I graduated, I wanted to go home and push him out of his job and teach elementary school and be the next head football coach at Chambersburg High School. And when I got the opportunity to go to Millersville and play for Coach Carpenter and then the staff, I've heard you guys talk about the coaches that you played for, and it was the same thing for me. I developed a great relationship with Brad Mangle was our offense coordinator and quarterback coach. Kyle Hockman was our wide receiver coach and tight end coach. That's who recruited me. Jim Schiffer, Eddie Augustin, Gary Kroll, those guys on the offensive side of the ball. And then I've heard y'all share a story too about the coaches on the defensive side of the ball. They made an impact on me and who I was, and it really changed my career aspirations. It probably in my sophomore year, that's when I started to think, you know what? I don't know that I want to go back and coach high school football. Not that I didn't want to be in high school football. You have an opportunity to create a different impact on student athletes that are 18 to 21, 22 years old. And the coaches there made such an impact on me. And I wanted to give back to student athletes at that point in life because you develop a different relationship. I always say this, your coaches are more like uncles to you. I mean, they're definitely father figures, but I say uncles because you have different relationships and different conversations with your uncles that maybe you do with your father. And I know I do. So that's what I looked at. And I really decided at that point, in probably 1998, that really what I wanted to do was chase the dream of coaching college football. And when I graduated, I was like, I'm going to come back here someday as a head coach. Now, I didn't really believe that was true, probably in my heart at the time, but I knew that was the career path that I wanted to hit. I was here for 4 years, and then I was a student assistant in the fall of 2001, the year after Coach retired, and then had an opportunity to leave and take a job at the Merchant Marine Academy up in Long Island, New York. I was there for one season, and then there was a chance to come back to Millersville as an assistant coach, where I spent 5 years as a wide receiver coach, and then had an opportunity to move on and take the next step in my professional career. But when I left, Peg Kaufman was the athletic director at the time, and I told her, and I said to her when I got back here, I was like, "Do you remember the conversation we had the day I was leaving?" I told her, I was like, "I'll come back here someday as a head coach." And her words were, she's like, "I hope so." And January 14th of this year, I was hired as a head football coach here, and it's truly an honor. And some of you have probably heard it at nausea, but it's an opportunity to come home. I mean, because I spent so many years here as a player, then coaching, and then even when I moved on coaching at one of the other schools in the league, we lived in Mountville. I lived 4 miles from our campus. So we spent so much time here. And I say we because my wife is a Millersville grad as well. She played softball. We had every class together our freshman year, and never dated through college. And Chelsea and I shared some stories last year. I filled it in. It's kind of a funny and ironic journey that we had. But when the job opened in the fall, there wasn't even for us a conversation. Wow. Sorry. There wasn't even a conversation for us about, hey, we're going to do everything we can to go back to Millersville and try to get this thing rolling and do what some of you guys in the room were part of so many years ago when Coach first got here. And we are committed to revitalizing Marauder pride in our program. And what I'll tell you, our kids, when I heard some things from them when we got back here in late January, and some guys talk about, hey, well, this happened, that happened. And one thing I kept saying, guys, I don't care about anything that happened before January 14th. Okay. In the last, 20 years or whatever it is, I don't care. It doesn't matter. All we're doing is moving forward. And our kids have done a great job. And we talk about Marauder Pride. And I tell them, like, guys, don't take offense to this, fellas. Like, you guys see it and you hear it. But I'm telling you, I lived it. We're going to bring it back. And that's what we talk about every single day. And we talk about our core values. And that's what we're trying to instill in kids. I taught them, what is pride? Number one, pride, it's your personal responsibility in delivering excellence. That's what pride is. And then we talk about, what we're trying to shoot off of and not take away from what coach had. But it's like, hey, what is pride? It's your passion, it's respect, it's integrity, discipline, and effort. Those things. I'm like, listen, if you guys buy into that and we live by those values, we're going to get this thing rolling here in the next couple of years, and it won't take long. Okay, it's not going to be easy, but it won't take long. But then more than anything, fellas, it's going to set you up for the rest of your life, because the reality of it is most of our guys are not going to go on to play professional football. I hope they get the opportunity to do so if they want to, but we want to make sure, just like all of us in the room, that they have an opportunity to go on and be good citizens, good people in their profession, husbands and fathers if they choose to. So that's what we're doing right now. The kids are doing a great job. And I say kids, it's kind of weird for me now because they're all, at the point where I could be every one of their fathers. I have children that are older than most every kid on our team, but they have bought into what we are doing here this spring. We just finished up spring practice 3 weeks ago. I'm sorry, not last week, 3 weeks ago, April 25th. And we were a little thin with some of our numbers, but the kids did a great job. We were able to install the offense, the defense, and our philosophy on special teams. And now they're into the start of summer here and starting our summer workout. We will come back into preseason camp August 9th. So we're looking forward to that and getting those guys back here. But really over these next 3 months, I keep telling them, like, hey, guys, listen, these 3 months are going to go a long way in determining what happened in the 3 months after you all get back to campus. So that's kind of where we're at with those guys right now. Recruiting class wise, I think we have 36 young men that we have committed to the class so far, and we're still working on probably about 15 to 20 more that we will add here in the coming months. And I've been asked by a couple of y'all in here and some people, outside as well. What are we looking to do from recruiting? I was like, we will continue to recruit the whole way up till the start of preseason camp. I asked Larry Ernestine the other day, like, when's the last possible date that we can get somebody into class? And he was like, admitted to school. He's like, probably about a week before class starts. I was like, okay, well, that's good because we'll need them before then. But at least I know that, hey, we come in August 9th and we can still be recruiting and adding guys up until August 8th. So that's what we're doing right now from a recruiting standpoint. Staff wise, we have our staff in place. And you talk about people that make an impact. The first person that we hired back was Ron Rankin as our defense coordinator. And I played for Coach Rankin. He was our defense coordinator my last 2 years, my junior and senior year here at Millersville. And then I worked with him as a student assistant for the 1 year. And then the 5 years that I was back here as an assistant coach. And there's nobody that I trust more and believe in more. And it was important to me to hire somebody that understands what Millersville University is, okay, what it was, what it can be, and what it will be. And he understands what Marauder Pride is, and he is impressing that upon our guys on a daily basis. So I was fired up about being able to bring him back here, and we've completed the rest of our staff. We'll look to potentially add another volunteer or two here as well throughout the summer. But that's a little bit from where we are from the staff standpoint. And then moving forward, we have a couple alumni things. Really, this weekend here is a great weekend, a great 3 days, 4 days for us that I'm excited about because we have this event today. Tomorrow night we have the Wall of Honor event where we're bringing in 6 more members to the wall, and then on Saturday afternoon we have our golf outing, which we are excited to get that thing back up and running, and looking forward to this really being a great weekend to continue to bring everybody back together, because that was an important thing to me when I got hired here. It's like, listen, I just want to bring guys back. I want to bring people back and show them what we're doing and that we're going to get this thing turned around, as quickly as we can. So that's a little bit of an update of where we are from a program standpoint as well. And I really, because I've heard some story, I don't want to drag this thing out, but that's what I wanted to share with y'all. What I would say, does anybody have questions for me that you would like to ask? I'd be happy to answer it the best I can if I haven't already had the chance to do that. But when y'all came in, yes. Am I allowed to share that? Okay, we are up, and this is what I'll tell you. Our athletic department has made a commitment. And that was one of the things that was the most impressive to me when I got back here, like going through the process, because I have a brother that works at one of the other schools in the state system, and when I started getting involved in it, he's like, "Hey man, this is where they're at financially." We have just over 17 scholarships right now, which is when I last worked here and when I worked at the other school in the league, we were not anywhere close to it. And that's a testament to what Chelsea has done, what you guys have done, and the commitment that Dr. Ruba and Miss Corcoran that our administration made. So that was exciting to me because I learned this. And again, this is not what you're asking, but I learned this years ago because my two older brothers coach college baseball. And their thing was always like, listen, don't ever take a job where you don't have a chance to go and win your league. And as soon as I saw what our financial resources were, I knew it was a lot better than it had been in years past and what other places were. Now, that doesn't just mean you're going to flip the switch overnight. We're going to try. We're going to, and I shouldn't say try because I tell our guys all the time when they say try, I'm like, I probably shouldn't say it here, but I'm like, trying's failing. All right. So it's like, no, we're going to do it. But we are in a much better spot than we ever have been. Again, that is a testament to y'all in the room here, to Chelsea, to our administration, and to our alums. So I'm fired up about that. We're going to continue to work to elevate that. But then ultimately it's my job and it's our job to put a product on the field that makes y'all proud. Yes, sir.
I don't know a lot about Division III, but does NIL have an impact in Division III at all?
Yeah.
Or in Division II? Okay.
Yep. Right now, and I don't know if you guys are any different, Jerry. It really has not had an impact. And I spent the last 12 years at the FCS level, and even at that level, it's mostly the NIL stuff right now. No, it is trickling down into the FCS level. Yes, it is. It is pretty much, that's where it's had the most impact. And again, you guys may have a better idea right now where I'm at, but the bigger thing to me right now would be the scholarships to be able to invest in the kids that we have.
Coach, what kind of offense?
Offense, we're going to be spread no huddle, mixed tempo. We're going to run tight zone, mid zone, counter. And it's more so if any for the coaches in the room. What's that?
No.
Yeah, it's tight zone is more of like the old traditional inside zone. Mid zone is what the outside zone used to be, but we're on counter, and then it'll be RPOs or quarterback run depending on the skill set of the QB. Because we won't change. I always say this: we won't change our scheme, but we'll change our emphasis. And I've been fortunate enough over my career, and quite frankly, I learned it here. And that's not just me talking. Like our terminology, I talked to Coach Mangle the other day. I was like, our terminology, you could walk into it and you would be able to pick it up. Now it's changed a little bit, but you'd be able to piece it together pretty well. But I'm like, this is what I know. This is what I learned. This is what I believe in. But going back to it, we always adapt around the quarterback, because that's the guy that's going to make it go. And he's a thrower, and I've coached guys that are throwers, so it's going to be more RPOs. So off the run, it's going to be RPOs. And I've coached guys that are runners, so it'll be all right. If they run better than they throw, then hey, we're going to tie them into the run game. So, yep. That's the easiest question. That's the most comfortable I feel right there when you start talking to me about the X's and O's. Any other questions that I can answer for y'all? All right, awesome. Thank you very, very much for coming. Appreciate
it. Thank you, Coach. If anybody has not paid yet that needs to, get with Harry. I know that's not pleasant, but get with Harry anyhow. Give him a week.
I'm good.
Two people I want to recognize. I know things have been already recognized, but I want to recognize John Ricketts and Mike Portman. Stand up, Hall of Honor. Thanks, guys. And with that, we're a little bit ahead of schedule. Hard to believe, but let's take it.
I can announce them on that back.
Okay. All right. We're going to take a food break for probably more than a half hour after Mike gets done.
Josh from the alumni, they're giving a raffle. It's not a raffle. Take a ticket, and after lunch, take one ticket, and then we're going to pick a winner. No money involved. So from the alumni office, they donated a host of little gifts, and after lunch, we'll do that. Okay. Everyone take a ticket on the way out. Food break.
I don't think I'm gonna get the luck in the first one. Let's see. I've never won these things. Maybe we did it again. Yeah. Yeah. You got six already, yeah. I'm gonna ask this. Yeah. Why you just had your grandma, your grandma? So, okay, you're good. You're good. I just wanted to make sure she did. That was it. Yep, you know, you're good. You got it. It's done. At some point, and Penn State was. Yeah, they got it. And they know they got program in there, you know, they're anything. I guess I was wrong. That's the door. It's 35, 35. We're wrapping off with the fall. Well, it's early. Two more guys. And Mike Gordon. Perfect. I'll get you just a sec, Joe. Okay. I walked in late, so. Oh, no worries. That's almost happening, right? I don't know. Hey, you're being dinner tomorrow night too. Good. You know what I'm really happy. Essentially, and here you computers from gentlemen play.
It was a 60 decision, but
Out for it. So I responded to it. I called up Brady and Mike. I said, hey, that's thing. Next time I see you, but you'll go to fire. 30. Hey, what are good now. Come up here during rush hour. Johnny. Yeah, buddy. I can't compliment this group with my well. Look it out.
We gotta go down, we gotta go like a home away. You don't want- you didn't put them down. Couple things to say.
Right here. I was out there, hands were. Yeah. I'm like, I'm saying, buddy, Josh. I look at you. And I was supposed to be asking you about it. They all could have both told them what it's talking about. Yeah. 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 Oh, yeah.
When I was there.
You're close now. Can I get a ticket? Yeah. Everything on your end, good?
Good. We got through commencement today. We're letting the guys out. And thank you for all the stuff you brought with you too.
Hey, you got a little.
Good. That's what
Yeah, a little bit of a ride, but I just go a little bit like this.
I also remember when for the lumber, Jack was crying.
But, I think that's. We got, I got on the.
Oh, you ran there, there's.
Yeah.
I guess I can back way. I was thinking, yeah, we didn't look at Bill. I was a little bit.
Yeah, it's a little bit. It's about 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Kelsey. Oh, God, they should go. Gonna be leaving soon.
I know they had donuts. They had a lot of All right. I'm getting something to eat. I skipped Hey. What year are you?
No, you gotta go, Paul, sing happy birthday. Ken Kankerson, you got it? Is all right, is this okay?
I signed that. Go get something done. We need a winner. Hey, good luck. Good luck. Good luck.
What's going on tomorrow? What's your name?
It'll start at 8 o'clock. Okay, 36.
Tell me if I know. You live in Millersville?
Yeah, yeah, I live out down. Well, we could go.
I think I wrote that's we need. I don't think you were on the list. I got on there. Nobody ever because I'm just like your idea. Harvard. Yeah, he got. Thank you
You're ahead of me.
Earl, is there a way to know if I'm paid up or not on this deal? Harry should know. Harry, no, I think Harry left. Josh? Harry just
Somebody wanted to talk to you.
Oh, yeah, bring him over here.
Okay. Josh has all that.
Carmen Black.
What's your name? Mike Tracy. Mike, okay, great to meet you.
I'll say right.
Check your bond, and then let me see.
Thanks for my football. I love it.
You know what, you need to work a real.
No, not every day. You're. I'm good.
No, I know, but I forget your name.
I better won't lie on me. Like proudly in my favorite.
And the funny thing.
Yeah, we're glad you guys came today. Thank you for moving. Sounds good.
That's cool.
Perfect. Okay, so you're good to go.
Yes, thank you.
I love that.
Did you sign the football? You don't have to do football. No, you don't have it on football. I don't think there's I know Carmen Leck was right.
Wow.
I can see if I see him on the way out.
Yeah. Okay, just one out today. The goal. Goal for them. No.
Did you hear me come labor?
No, you are good to go.
No, he was a freshman coach. He took that from there, you know, and then guys not and up things for her. I didn't